try just this little short one at 2:40.
2:40? This one here? In paragraph 4 of your petition, you indicated that Mr. Clark instructed you to deliver proceeds of all accounts to him as personal representative.
Right.
Where were you when he instructed you that?
In his office.
Was anyone else present?
No.
After your mother's death, did you attempt to withdraw funds from any of her accounts at Bank of America?
That's regarding the $5,000 I was talking to you about earlier.
I'm asking you, did you attempt to withdraw any funds from Bank of America?
I did withdraw funds on Mr. Clark's advice.
Did you ever have any problems with the bank in terms of withdrawing funds?
No.
Did you ever make a request of them to issue a check to you, and did they ever refuse?
No, the only check that was issued, the closing of the accounts.
Mr. Lucas is your current attorney, correct?
Yes.
Have you ever had counsel before?
No, not before Mr. Clark.
And so Mr. Lucas was the attorney that you consulted with after you decided that Mr. Clark should no longer be?
No. Let's do it one more time.
Okay.
2:40 again.
In paragraph 4 of your petition, you indicated that Mr. Clark instructed you to deliver proceeds of all accounts to him as personal representative.
Right.
Now, where were you when he instructed you that?
In his office.
Was anyone else present?
No.
After your mother's death, did you attempt to withdraw funds from any of her accounts at Bank of America?
That's regarding the $5,000 I was talking to you about earlier.
I'm asking you, did you attempt to withdraw any funds from Bank of America?
I did withdraw funds on Mr. Clark's advice.
Did you ever have any problems with the bank in terms of withdrawing funds?
No.
Did you ever make a request of them to issue a check to you, and did they ever refuse?
No, the only check that was issued, the closing of the accounts.
Mr. Lucas is your current attorney, correct?
Yes.
Have you had counsel before?
No, not before Mr. Clark.
So Mr. Lucas was the attorney that you consulted with after you decided that Mr. Clark should no longer be?
No. How'd you do on the 2:40? All right, we'll switch subjects on you. Let's do some sustained 240. We'll do about 3 minutes this time. Okay? I'll stop us.
Okay, ready? During that 3.5 weeks, did you talk to any medical practitioner over the phone?
No, I did not.
During the time that you were having this pain and your back had gone out, did you know how long the pain would last?
No.
Had you had any other trauma or injury to your back just before you experienced this back going out in January or February of 2002?
Well, here again, ever since the accident, there's been a constant pressure situation down there.
But are you aware of any falls or hits or anything to your back that you experienced other than twisting to pick up this phone book or after picking up the phone book?
No, no falls or anything of that nature.
Did you think that this, well, strike that, in January or February when you were experiencing this low back pain, when your back had gone out, did you think that this pain would be relieved by you treating yourself as opposed to seeing a doctor?
Yes.
Now, you mentioned that during 2002 through 2003, your back had gone out 2 times, and the first was in January or February of 2002. When was the second time?
It was more recent. It was late November, early December of this year.
November or December of 2002?
Yes.
What were you doing when you were experiencing your back going out that time?
I was washing the dishes or something or other, or washing a dish.
So you're basically standing at the sink?
Uh-huh.
Yes?
Yes.
Did you attempt to twist or bend your back?
What I did was I needed to throw something in the trash container directly below the sink, so I stepped back, opened up the door, and started to kneel down, bend down slightly to drop something in, and as I began to raise myself up, that's when that accident happened.
And at that time, did you experience the intense prickly feeling that you described regarding your lower back?
It was an intense pain. It was not a prickly feeling attached to it.
Were you able to stand up erect after the pain started?
Not very well.
Did you do anything to help relieve the pain that you experienced that time?
I sat down. That's the first initial thing that I do in these types of situations, and I believe on this occasion I actually laid down on the couch for a little while, straightened out my legs.
Did you do anything else?
Later that evening, a shower and a heating pad.
Is there a reason why you didn't immediately apply the heating pad or take a shower?
No particular reason.
Did you think that applying a heating pad or taking a hot shower would help relieve the pain that you were feeling?
It would relieve it to a degree.
How long did you experience this pain in your back during this episode in November or December of 2002?
This one lasted about a week. It wasn't quite as severe as the one earlier in the year.
During that week that you had the pain in November or December of 2002, did you see any medical practitioner?
No, I did did not.
During that week of November or December of 2002, when you had this pain, did you miss any time from work?
No, I did not.
During that week in November or December of 2002, did you have a change about anything of your normal activities?
Just to be more careful of my movements.
How often did you use a heating pad during the week that you had this pain during November or December of 02?
Use the heating pad primarily at night.
Did you do anything to help relieve any of the pain that you were having at work during this week in November or December of 02?
Well, I think I need to clarify that at this particular point in December of 2002, I was not actively working. All right, let's do that. Last, we'll do, might be a little less than a minute, but let's do 240, 250, 240 without stopping. So we'll just come back to there,
All right.
and I'll do this.
Okay,
All right, ready.
How long did you experience this pain in your back during this episode in November or December of 2002?
This one lasted about a week. It wasn't quite as severe as the one earlier in the year.
During that week that you had the pain in November or December of 02, did you see any medical practitioners?
No, I did not.
And during that week of November or December of 02, when you had this pain, did you miss any time from work?
No, I did not.
During that week in November or December of 2002, did you have a chance to change anything about any of your normal activities at work?
Just to be more careful of my movements.
How often did you use a heating pad during the week that you had this pain during November or December of 02?
Use the heating pad primarily at night.
Did you do anything to help relieve any of the pain that you were having at work during this week in November or December of 02?
Well, I think I need to clarify that at this particular point. In December of 2002, I was not actively working.
How long did you experience this pain in your back during this episode in November or December of 2002?
Well, this one lasted about a week. It wasn't quite as severe as the one earlier in the year.
During that week that you had the pain in November or December of 02, did you see any medical practitioners?
No, I did not.
During that week of November or December of 02, when you had this pain, did you miss any time from work?
No, I did not.
During that week in November or December of 2002, did you have to change anything about any of your normal activities at work?
Just to be more careful of my movements.
How often did you use a heating pad during the week that you had this pain during November or December of 02?
Use the heating pad primarily at night.
Did you do anything to help relieve any of the pain that you were having at work during this week in November or December of 02?
Well, I think I need to clarify that at this particular point in December of 2002, I was not actively working.
How long did you experience this pain in your back during this episode in November or December of 2002?
This one lasted about a week. It wasn't quite as severe as the one earlier in the year.
During that week that you had the pain in November or December of 02, did you see any medical practitioners?
No, I did not.
During that week of November or December of 02, when you had this pain, did you miss any time from work?
No, I did not.
During that week in November or December of 2002, did you have to change anything about any of your normal activities at work?
Just to be more careful of my movements.
How often did you use a heating pad during the week that you had this pain during in November or December of 02?
Used the heating pad primarily at night.
And did you do anything to help relieve any of the pain that you were having at work during this week in November or December of 02?
Well, I think I need to clarify that at this particular point in December 2002, I was not actively working. All right, you ready for some 240s?
Oh.
All right, 240.
1 second, Susie.
Sure. So we'll do 3 1 minutes. And then we'll do a little warm up with the 225 before that one.
Okay.
As long as we didn't burn your fingers off yet. All right, 240 number 1. You're going to cap Dr. Saul, SOL, Prudential Property and Casualty Insurance Company. Remember Shirk Insurance Company? All right, so 1 minute at 2:40.
Okay.
Right there.
Ready?
Ready.
At 40 hours per week?
That's correct.
Okay, approximately how much were the charges for your treatment with Dr. Saul?
It was nearly in excess of $3,000, as I recall.
Who paid for Dr. Saul's charges?
I believe the insurance company paid for that.
What insurance company?
I don't remember.
Was it your insurance company?
I don't remember.
Was it the insurance company for the carrier or the other vehicle?
I don't remember.
Did you have any medical payment coverage under your policy with Prudential Property and Casualty Insurance Company?
I believe I did.
And what was the maximum limit on that?
I don't remember the exact figure.
Did you ever personally or by an agent receive a check for MedPay from Prudential Property and Casualty Insurance Company?
No, not personally, not to the best of my memory.
Were you ever advised that they had paid Dr. Saul any amount with regard to this accident?
No, come to think of it, I don't.
No, you settled a claim with the adverse driver and the other vehicle that was involved in the accident, is that right?
I believe so, yes.
And how much was that settlement?
$5,000, I believe.
Do you know the total amount of claimants regarding the policy of the other driver?
I think there were a total of 5 or 6 people in the car. All right, 240 number 2. And this one, we have Van Nuys Boulevard, Victory Boulevard, Honda Prelude, and I think that's it. All right, so 240 number 2, here we go.
Have you been sued by the driver or the other claimants regarding this accident?
I have been sued by the driver of the car.
And did anyone advise you that the policy limits on the other vehicle or the other driver were $15,000 and $30,000?
I don't remember.
Were you driving your vehicle at the time that the collision occurred?
That's correct.
And what kind of vehicle was that?
It was a Honda Prelude.
Or were you the only person in that vehicle at the time of the collision?
Yes, I was.
And what street were you on when the collision occurred?
Victory Boulevard.
What direction were you traveling?
Eastbound.
Did you see the other vehicle before the impact occurred?
Moments before.
What street and direction was the other vehicle traveling on when you saw it before the impact?
It was on Van Nuys Boulevard traveling northbound.
Was there a traffic signal? We'll strike that. Were you approaching Van Nuys when the collision occurred?
Van Nuys Boulevard?
Right.
Correct.
Was there a traffic signal at the intersection of Van Nuys and Victory?
Yes, there was.
What kind of traffic signal is that?
They are standard lights.
Three-phase light with red, yellow, and green.
That's correct, and also a walk, don't walk sign underneath that.
Where was your vehicle when you first saw the other vehicle?
Where was it positioned in the street? 1 minute, let's go fast. All right, so we have one more.
Okay.
But no, that's better. All right, 240 number 3.
Ready? Where was your vehicle when you first saw the other vehicle?
Where was it positioned in the street?
Right.
I was in the number 1 lane, the one closest to the center of the street, just entering the intersection.
And what color was the traffic signal for your direction of travel?
It was green.
Where was the other vehicle when you first saw it?
When I first saw it, it was off to my right, slightly coming into my full frontal vision.
Was any part of the other vehicle in the intersection when you first saw it?
Any part of that?
Other vehicle in the intersection?
The whole vehicle was in the intersection. You are referring to the other vehicle, the one that was involved in the collision?
Right.
The entire vehicle was in the intersection at the time that I saw it.
Did you see your traffic signal light when it turned green?
The traffic signal light was already green as I was approaching the intersection. In addition to that, the walk don't walk signal was illuminated white when it said walk.
Did you see your traffic signal when it turned green?
No, not when it turned green.
How long had you been on Victory eastbound before you got to the intersection of Victory and Van Nuys Boulevard?
How many minutes and seconds? I don't know. It would be quite a few, not very many minutes or seconds. All right. Any questions on those? Let's slow down to 225. Do a little warm up. Get this 225. I'll stop this.
Okay, ready?
Mhm.
And what about the adverse vehicle that was involved in the collision? Did it stop upon impact?
Yes.
Do you have an estimate of the speed of the adverse vehicle at the time of the impact?
I estimate it to be traveling approximately 35 miles per hour.
Did you talk to the other driver after the impact occurred?
No, I did not.
Did you talk to any of the passengers after the impact occurred?
No, I did not.
Did the police come to the scene of the accident?
Yes, they did.
What police department was that?
Los Angeles Police Department.
And how much time passed between the accident and the time that the police arrived?
I don't remember exactly.
Was it more than an hour?
No, it was much less than that.
And did you give the police your version of how the accident occurred?
Yes, I did.
And did you hear anything that the other driver told the police with regard to how the accident occurred?
No, I did not.
And did you see any paramedic or emergency vehicles at the scene of the accident?
Yes, I did.
Were you examined or treated by any paramedics or emergency personnel at the scene of the accident?
No, I was not.
And did you have any pain or discomfort in any part of your body before you left the scene of the accident?
Yes, I did.
Where did you have pain?
In my back area, my neck area, in my arms, upper arms, and in my legs, my upper legs and thighs.
Just the upper front of your legs, or are you talking about behind?
I don't remember, just the leg area.
Do you recall hitting your legs on anything in the course of the collision?
No, I did not strike my legs on any portion of the interior of the car.
Did you strike your chest on any portion of the interior of the car?
No, I did not.
Did you ever experience any chest pain after the collision?
Yes, I did.
Did you attribute that to striking your chest on something?
Not striking it on something such as the steering wheel or anything like that. The impact against the seatbelt itself.
Did you feel the seatbelt locked at the moment or around the time of the impact?
Yes, I did, and did a very good job of that.
And the strike that, the shoulder portion of the strap on your seatbelt, how did it cross your body? Was it from left to right or?
It was from the left. It was anchored on the left beam of the car to cross my left shoulder down on my right side and buckled in under my right side.
And so the lap portion went from the top left shoulder area down to the right side of your waist?
That's correct.
And did you notice any bruises, bumps, or contusions in any part of your shoulder or chest which you attribute to the seatbelt or the collision?
I did not notice any visual bruising of the epidural portion of the skin. I didn't notice anything like that, but it was sore from all the way across here and down to the bottom of my rib cage.
And was that the area of soreness, basically the same area that the seatbelt would have crossed your body?
That's correct.
How long did you notice any of that soreness?
How long did I notice it after it happened, or how long was the duration of it?
Right. How long did it last after you noticed it?
A few weeks.
Was that soreness only when you touched that particular portion? Well, strike that. Was that soreness something that you noticed only when you touched that particular portion of the body or came into contact with something?
That and moving, turning, or bending, moving your upper portion of your body forward.
Did you ever receive any treatment for the pain that you felt, which apparently was caused by the seatbelt?
Medication.
Was that the same general pain medication that you received regarding your other injuries?
That's correct.
So much more comfortable to read that.
It is. Was that better after 240 for you?
It was for us.
Okay. Let's do our 240. Our 225. They're used to me. I do that all the time. 2. So this one's a total of this.
Okay.
So I'll just keep our
Watch on it.
All right, I see caps, Dr. Eric Fine, ERIC, FINE, Osage Avenue, OSAGE, David, Alfred,
Yes.
Eddington, EDDINGTON, comma, Pennsylvania, Elaine Barber, BARBER, Frank Seaman, SEAMAN, and that's it. All right. 225 now for 5. It's 5:10 today. All right.
Ready?
Ready.
When was the last time you saw somebody for the panic attacks?
Around July of 2000.
Who did you see?
Dr. Eric Fine,
Is Dr. Fine a psychiatrist?
an MD, I think.
Aside from the 2 times at the hospital, did you see anybody for the smoke problem with your chest or breathing difficulties?
Well, when I went the second time, I was coughing soot and I was feeling this pain. The doctor told me that usually it takes about a year or maybe 6 months to a year before you start to feel the reaction or the effect, the side effect or something like that. So I asked him about all the soot I was coughing up. He said, well, that is going to go away eventually in a couple of months, you know.
And did it?
Yes, the soot and the coughing. I wasn't coughing up soot about 3 months later. You know, it was kind of a thickening in the beginning and then it just subsided.
Has that completely cleared up by now?
Yes, it's cleared up.
Did you injure yourself in any other way from the fire that you haven't described to me?
You mean physical injury?
Physical, yes.
No.
Did you ever go back to the building?
I never went back.
You never went back to Osage Avenue?
No, when I went to the doctor within that week after the fire, he said to keep away from the building because you are going to react to that smoke, you know. And for a long time when people smoked around me, I felt like throwing up. I felt really congested just from ordinary smoke of people.
Have you ever smoked yourself?
Back then I would smoke on and off, and I'm not a smoker really.
Did you ever try to get in touch with anybody about the personal property that was in your apartment?
Well, David and this friend of mine, Alfred, they saw the fire on TV and they realized that that was my address, so they came to the scene. They came to the scene, then they tried to retrieve some of my clothes, you know, the few things they could get.
Were they able to retrieve any of your personal property?
A few items of clothes here and there.
What is his last name?
That's his last name. Alfred is his first name.
And this was a friend of yours?
Both friends of mine, yes.
Do you know where Alfred lives?
No, I only saw him 1 or 2 times since the fire.
Do you know where he works?
He used to work in Eddington, somewhere in Eddington, Pennsylvania. I don't know if he still works there.
Do you know if Elaine Barber ever went to the scene of the fire to try to retrieve her personal belongings?
She didn't, because when she came, the house was on fire. The apartment building was on fire. And at that time, the guys, you know, they were on the scene. So from hearing people talking, saying they took somebody to the hospital, they just went to the hospital. When I came out, they were sitting there for like 3 or 4 hours waiting. When I came out, I just saw them. They said, we heard about the fire.
So the first time you saw her after the fire was at the hospital?
Yes.
And she told you at that point that she had been to the scene of the fire?
Well, they all came to the hospital.
So it is your understanding that she never got any of her personal belongings back?
No, because even the few things that David took, you know, I thought they were good, but it was like flakes. When you washed it, everything turned into flakes.
Can you estimate for me the value of the property that you lost in the fire?
I would say close to $8,000.
And what would that consist of mainly?
Clothes, furniture, books, everything. I read a lot of books. I had my own private collection. The only thing they took out was the burnt clothes that I didn't even use, because when I got to David's house, I couldn't use the clothes. I just threw them away. Luckily, the people at my job gave me some money. A friend, Frank Seaman, gave me $150. He's a caseworker in my district. He gave me money. Then the activities committee where I was working, they raised money and gave me $180.
Have you ever discussed with Elaine Barber the value of the property that she lost in the fire?
Well, she knows how much she lost.
But you never discussed it with her?
We sat down and tried to recollect and put down on paper.
I need to go back to the building.
Okay.
Does the main entrance to the apartment building come out onto Osage Avenue?
Yes, it does.
Is there a courtyard to this building? Do you have to enter a courtyard before you enter a building, or does it go right out?
Right out from Osage Avenue.
As you come into the building, is there a lobby on the first floor before you go upstairs, or is there just a hallway and a stairway?
Well, when you open the main door, you go up like 4 steps. Then there is a door leading to my apartment on my side. It's like 2 apartments in one building, 2 doors, but there's one main door. Then there is one on the right. You climb 4 steps. You go up. Then there is another 4 steps on the other side that you open the other door to go to the other apartments.
One of these doors would lead to a staircase that went up to the 2nd floor.
Well, when you come in the 2nd floor, you walk maybe about 10 to 15 yards before you go up to the 2nd floor.